Yep.
I'd like to welcome everybody to the Southbridge Town Council meeting, Monday, November 18th, 2024, 7 p.m. McKinney Council Chambers. First, Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Moving on to agenda item number 2, roll call. Madam Secretary.
Councillor Lazo.
Present.
Councillor Montigny.
Present.
Councillor Chenier.
Present.
Councillor Daniel.
Present.
Councillor Dow.
Present.
Councillor Kelly. Councillor Marquetti.
Present.
Councillor Ortiz.
Present.
Councillor Rivas.
She'll be late.
Thank you.
Councillor
Kelly was excused.
Kelly
Kelly.
is excused.
Thank you.
Moving on to the consider and accept minutes of November 4th, 2024. Town Council.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Are there any additions, corrections, or deletions to the minutes of that meeting? Not all those in favor? Opposed? One abstention. Moving on to agenda item number 4, subcommittees. Department of Public Works, Councilor Shinya.
Mr. Chair, we had a meeting last week, and all the items on tonight's agenda was unanimously approved by the the subcommittee that was present, and we have a meeting tentatively scheduled for September 26th. I'm sorry, November 26th at 6 p.m.
Thanks, Councilor. Moving on to B, Education Human Services.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We did not have a meeting and we have no meeting scheduled, but I would like everybody to know that we will be soon. It's just these departments have been running very smoothly for the last couple of months, and kudos to them for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Council. Moving on to General Government. Councilor Daniels. I'm sorry, Councilor. There will be no report at this time because the Councilor is absent. Moving on to Planning and Development, Councilor Daniels.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you, we had no meeting, but we are scheduled for one this Thursday evening, 11/21 at 6 p.m.
Moving on to E, Protections of Personal Property, Councilor Dow.
Thank you, Chair. Through you, we have no meeting. We have one scheduled on November 26th. Thank you.
Moving on to Chairman's announcements. I just have a couple of comments. One, we enjoyed a fantastic Veterans Day. I think that Dave Adams did a fantastic job. The ceremony was somber, but the celebration down at the DOD was wonderful. I really enjoyed it. I think that if we could just give Dave a round of applause for the job he did. Okay, thank you very much. Just one quick comment. We had some misfortunes of fire in our community. A couple of buildings got damaged badly. Some were going to be demolished. And there was a back-to-back fire in the same area. I'd just like to thank the town manager, our chief, our firefighters. There was no loss of life, and the firefighters came home safe. I know that I went on one of the fires with Councilor Dow, and we saw the boys in action. It was amazing. They took care of the problem, and they make it look so easy. And I'd like to commend Councilor Shinya for all the time that he spent and volunteered at the community center while these citizens were being taken care of at the shelter as it was set up. And the town manager and all the powers to be did a fantastic job of streamlining and taking care of these people. The generosity from the town was outstanding. Everybody was calling. They wanted to know what they could donate. They were donating. I know there was a Lions Club donating gift cards and all types of things, clothing and stuff like that. So the generosity in Southbridge is still unbelievable. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. Well, Southbridge was there for its people, and I'm very proud to sit here saying I'm a chairman of a community that thinks in those ways and handles it and gets out there and puts their best foot forward every day. Moving on to town manager's announcements. Mr. Town Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you, I do have quite a bit just to announce this evening. First off, I just want to thank the town clerk, Maddie Bonadias, and all her workers, election workers, and including our town hall staff, our Department of Public Works, the police department, everybody in Community Center for the successful election that took place. It was a lot of teamwork to make sure that was completed, and I'd like to thank everybody. And we are planning a recognition for those workers on December 6th here in the town hall. We're going to give a little event to thank them on the 6th of December. Reminder on the curbside participants, we are on a holiday schedule next week for pickup, so a reminder that Thanksgiving is next week. Wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, but the trash community pickup will be delayed one day from Thursday. So Thursday will be Friday, Friday will be Saturday. A reminder that curbside collection of yard waste will end on November 30th. There will be no further pickup after November 30th. Additionally, the drop-off for Southbridge residents at the Department of Public Works will also end on November 30th. Those bins will be moved, so you will not be able to drop anything off at the DPW site after November 30th. Just like to announce and remind people that Senator Fatman will be holding office hours in the Veterans Room here in the Town Hall this week on Wednesday, November 20th from 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. Tammy Ruda from Representative Marcy's office will also be present, so both Representative Marcy and Senator Fatman will hold office hours in conjunction. That will be in the Veterans Room. We welcome any residents that have constituent service questions to attend. No appointment is needed. Regards to the ARPA Committee, former Councilor Dave Adams has served in the capacity of chair of this committee. I thank him and we thank him for his service. He has submitted his resignation effective December 31st, 2024. This will coincide with the closing of all the obligations that we have to put forward. And over the next 2 years, our office will oversee and manage the closing out of the projects and the reporting requirements for the federal government. I had previously announced that the tax rate classification would be December 2nd, but in working with our assessor and Will Canoyer and our finance department, we have a lot of paperwork to make sure that we get into the state, and because it was a revaluation year, we're waiting on further certification. So the tax rate classification will be held on December 9th at 6:30 p.m. That has already been sent to the newspaper and will be posted. The hearing will be at 6:30 p.m. And I've asked the chairman of the council to hold a special town council meeting to set the classifications at 7 p.m. on that evening. Bay Path Regional Vocational School has announced that they have the annual house building project. You can take out applications are being selected to have a house built in any one of the 10 member communities. Visit their website and they will have information for that. Regards to the municipal electric plan, I know there's been a lot of information that have gone out to National Grid customers relative to our municipal electric aggregation plan. This is something that has been in the works for many years. Again, I've announced it several times here in the council chambers. Our rate is 0.13040, and in discussion even today with a representative of National Grid, that is a good rate, but again, I would urge anyone to do their homework in regards to this. It will be an opt-out program. We will hold a community meeting at 6 p.m. here in the Town Council chambers on December 5th at 6 p.m. to discuss any questions. The deadline for opt-out is December 14th, and the program is scheduled to start in January. All of my offices have information for the phone numbers that you can call. It's been posted to our website. It's also on our social media pages, and they will gladly go through any information. So I urge anyone, because I've seen it out on social media, about questions about us trying to take another stab at overreach in community. It's not that at all. This is simply a program to provide an option to residents for a very good rate for electricities, and do your homework, do your shopping, and if you like the rate that's being offered, it's a great rate. If not, do what you need to do. We're not forcing anybody into this program. In regards to fire and public safety, just want to announce the police chief had put out that there is a unique rare wildlife event going on in our community where we are seeing a sick raccoon population with a disease outbreak. They're exhibiting signs of rabies, such as lethargy, seizures, pawing at the mouth, limping, etc. the police department has encountered 13 raccoons as of this date. This is a departure from what's usual. At this time, there's been no human exposures to any sick animals, and as such, there's been no testing by the state laboratory on these animals because no exposure. All we would ask is that be careful around wildlife, and if you see it, just contact our ACO. As the chairman stated, our emergency services have been very busy over the last week, and I want to publicly commend the agencies. The police department over the last 2 weekends has responded, unfortunately, to several shootings in the area. They've had quite a quick response. Over the weekend, there was another incident, and thankfully there was nobody mortally wounded, but the quick response, they were able to apprehend the suspect, and unfortunately this is happening way too much, not only in our community, but throughout the country, but our police department does a great job in responding to those incidents. Finally, as the chairman had stated, I just really want to talk about the fire that took place last week. I know Councilor Shenya was at the scene about the same time I got there at 3 o'clock in the morning, right when the first calls went out. But I think for the public, we are very fortunate with the agencies that we have here. But publicly, I listened to it from the very first call that came in, and I have to say the dispatcher that was on duty, Sarah Moroe, did a fabulous job. She was the only dispatcher on duty at that time, had multiple calls, and she was calm, collected, and dispatched the fire department to the scene. The police department did what they did immediately by going out there and securing the scene and assisting residents out of the building. Deputy Chief Hewlett was immediately on the air and called in resources from his residents because the fire was that substantial that he could see it from his residence up on a hill. The first due captain, Jeff Matthew, and his crew of, I believe there was 5 on duty that night, did an initial attack. By the time I got there and 2 trucks were there, we all got there about the same time as they were setting up. They had incredible amounts of hoses out, water starting on the fire, individuals out of those residents. Deputy Chief Hewlett took immediate command, and if you listen to him on the radio, he was called in those resources very readily, and we're very thankful for the multiple number of towns that came to the scene. Furthermore, we're very grateful for Fire Department Chaplain Reverend Esteban Carrasco, who was also on scene, and he took the task of making sure that he logged in every resident that was at the scene so that we had adequate count of who was there, what their addresses were, what their information was. The Department of Public Works responded and assisted. Given the fact that it was cold that night, it was probably one of the coldest nights that we've had in a while, we stood up the community center, immediately called our community center director, Katie Tilton. Her and I went down there and opened up the center. We have to thank her mother and father who come out, volunteer their time. Again, the chairman stated that Councilor Shenya was there as well. Our job was to get those residents off the street, out of the cold, into safety, which we did. Thankfully, Red Cross was called. They were here immediately. Councilor Shenya worked with Red Cross. Red Cross was standing up the shelter and providing services before the fire was even put out. While the fire was ongoing and they were putting that fire out, we had Red Cross on scene working with the victims of this tragic incident. Also like to thank Harrington Memorial Hospital, who also was there pretty immediately working with the residents. In working with the Red Cross, the Salvation came out, and truly Massachusetts Emergency Management came out. We set up what was called a Recovery Resource Center. They typically set those up for incidents that occur with 50 people or more, but given the fact of our dynamics and needs of our community, they stood up this Resource Recovery Center in the community center. We had the following agencies, and I just think it's noted that the following agencies that all work together. The American Red Cross, the Salvation Army, the Department of Mental Health, the Executive Office of Livable Communities, Department of Transitional Assistance, Tri-Valley Elderly Services, Center of Living and Working, the Department of Motor Vehicles, MEMA, the Central Mass Disaster Animal Response Team, the YMCA, the Mass Behavioral Helpline, Peer Recovery, Harrington Hospital, Family Resource Center, House of Destiny Ministry, Worcester Community Action Council, Renaissance Medical Group, Southbridge Community Connections, Wardrobe on Wheels, Bridge to Hope, Town of Southbridge Housing, Town of Southbridge Fire Services Emergency Management, the Town Manager's Office, a local CERT team, State Representative Marcy, and Senator Fatman's office. Those were all the resources that we provided in the community center for this, for the victims of this fire. And it really was incredible to see all our local agencies in partnership with the state agencies, and those individuals were relocated and services provided to them. Additionally, while we had the Resource Recovery Center set up, we did have the second fire, and not only did we handle service the individuals from the first incident, but we also serviced the 3 families that were displaced from the second incident. Also like to thank the Lions Club because they had several members that came out on Friday evening and assisted in cleaning up. So really, I'm very proud as town manager to see the teamwork that went on this, and it's due to a lot of hard work of a lot of department heads throughout the year that we have set up networks, the South County Migrant Task Force that were able to quickly stand up this incident. But it is noted that we are very thankful that nobody was injured, nobody died, and services were rendered, and everybody did a fabulous work, and were able to go home. So we thank everybody for all the hard work and everything, our town hall staff. It was just incredible, the outpouring of support, and I thank everybody for that. So, and that's all I have. Thank you.
I'd just like to add one more person to that long list that I've recognized and the town manager recognized. What happens now that everything, the dust is cleared? There's a gentleman called Ted Tatro who had that building taken down in a record time. I could not believe one of the things that since the town manager has come on board in this council has been about blight. Buildings burn, they board them up, and they leave them there for a while, a long while. So in this case here, the newly appointed building commissioner immediately was on site. Building came down. Structurally, it was breached. So I'd just like to throw an attaboy out there for Ted Tatro. And after the fire's done and the lives are saved and our boys go home safe, there's a cleanup detail for the face of our streets. And I think he's doing a hell of a job on this one. If this is any indication, it's going to be like quick takedowns when it comes down to buildings that are going to become blight.
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
Thank you, and I apologize for leaving that out because the building department, not only is fire police called out in the middle of the night, our building department is called out in the middle of the night to make sure the structures are safe. So thank you for that.
Moving on to Citizens Forum, are there any citizens that would like to address the Southbridge Town Council on any issues that are not on the agenda? Are there any citizens? There are none. We'll move on to agenda item number 9. Vote to confirm the town manager's appointment of Michael Jeanette as maintenance man, equipment operator, as recommended by the DPW director, effective upon completion of onboarding and state ethics.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Discussion. Mr. Town Manager?
Thank you. We're happy to provide this name forward. As you know, we've been in a constant flux with getting individuals to work. This individual is a great candidate for this position, came recommended by the DPW director, and he's able to start work as of tomorrow because he has cleared out all the necessary paperwork and employment screenings.
Any questions or discussion?
Mr. Chair, this
Yeah.
was unanimously approved by the DPW subcommittee with everybody there.
Thank you. Council? Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous vote present. Would he like to say a few words?
Would you like to say a few words, Mike?
No?
Well, welcome.
Shy. You're welcome. Looking forward to working with you. Moving on to agenda item number 10. Vote to approve the town council return the following funds to the opera account totaling $691.46 for redistribution. We have Heritage Grant, $241.62. PPE, field equipment, $449.48. West Street infrastructure work, $20. YMCA What's for Dinner program, 8 cents. YMCA Teen Center Workplace Development, 8 cents. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second.
Mr. Chair,
Councilor Senior.
can I make a motion to amend Article Number 10 and to remove the Heritage Grant for $241.62?
There is an amendment on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Dow. Any discussion on the amendment? Councilor?
So I think then the total would be 449.84.
449.48, right?
84.
84.
I got 84.
Oh, it's printed wrong.
Well, no, because we're changing it. That's why. We're changing it with the amendment.
Oh, the final on the number, yes, okay. Thank you, Councilor. Mr. Adams?
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just to also, my fat fingers hit the under, it shouldn't be $20, it should be 20 cents. So I am the one who did the double tap on the zeros at the end. So, and the 241, that was my error. During the Heritage Grant, the ARPA paid $15,000, which would be matching funds at a little over $14,700 that went from, that was paid by the state. That's all I have. Thank you.
Any discussion on the amendment? If not, all those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present. Moving on to the main motion as amended. Any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present. Moving on to 11, vote to approve $4,575 in ARPA funds as requested by the town manager for the purchase of table and chairs to be placed in the George Parent Conference Room, and distribution of such funds will be overseen by the town's ARPA administrator.
So moved.
Motion by Shinya, counsel by Ortiz, seconded by Ortiz. Discussion? Counsel?
I don't know if the town manager wants to explain what this is about.
Mr. Town Manager?
So the next two items are both for us to, the council has the conference room and the George Parent Room. This would put a conference table with 12 chairs to make it a professional-looking conference room for our meetings. The next item would be a smart technology, smart board for us to be able to do any virtual meetings as well as presentations, budget presentations. And on the next item, I'll explain that further.
Counsel Dow?
Is that gonna include like the other room, like the cameras and audio and all that?
Not for cable, but we would have the ability to, if the next item goes through, we would have the ability to record that meeting on that and then give it to cable for them to add on. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
this was unanimously approved by all present at the ARPA meeting.
Thank you, counsel. Any other discussion? If no further discussion, all those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present. Moving on to 12, vote to approve $7,499.32 in ARPA funds as a request by the town manager for the purchase of a smart technology interactive W/adjustment stand, and distribution of such funds will be overseen by the town's ARPA administrator.
So moved.
Motion by Shinya, seconded by Ortiz. Discussion.
Thank you, if I may, Mr. Chairman. So I did have a model when I had it for the presentation for the ARPA committee. Instead of putting a permanent board up that would be mounted to the wall, we are purchasing it on a cart so that it could go down the veterans room. So if we do have meetings down in the veterans room, we would be able to move that out. We do find ourselves, now in the technology of virtual meetings, there's several of us that are trying to have a virtual meeting, and we typically all three of us try to get around a small computer screen. It's just professionalism for the office, and as far as the smart technology for the board, this board is actually, the cost of the board is actually 50% off because Dean and I had attended the MEC conference, so there was a show special for 50% off, so we're getting a lot of technology for that dollar amount.
Recommendation, counsel?
Mr. Chair, this was unanimously approved by the ARPA committee.
Thank you. Councilor Marquetti?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you. I did notice that the technology of this TV is still a Windows 10, and I've been getting messages from Microsoft that Windows 10 is ending. So I don't know if that's something that needs to be updated before you purchase it, or whether, like the next agenda item, whether you want to lease this instead of buying it. I don't have a problem buying it. I just noticed that Windows 10, with that technology ending, you might want to ask them to upgrade it to Windows 11.
I will. I know we had a conversation that would be able to be updated to Windows 11. So that conversation was part of our presentation when they came.
Okay. Thank you.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present. Moving on to 13, vote to approve $5,652.48 in opera funds as a request by the town building inspector to lease a HP Design Jet XT 950 36 in MFP for 5 years, and the distribution of such funds will be overseen by the town's ARPA administrator.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Shinya, seconded by Ortiz. Council,
Mr. Chair, this was unanimously approved by the ARPA Committee.
any further discussion?
Thank you, Chair. To you, to the town manager, leasing is better from buying it?
Yeah, if I may, Mr. Chairman? Yeah, so I had talked to the Director of Inspectional Services, and he followed up with it because of the amount of use. The vendor, as well as the IT director, said that lease was the better option to go to because of the amount of prints it's going to use and the technology. So they believe that it was.
So if any maintenance will be for free through the lease company?
It's through the lease company,
That's
correct?
what
Yeah.
Maybe any.
No, Mr. Chair, through you, it's just like our printers and stuff like that. It's better to lease them off through municipalities like that instead of purchase them. Another thing is you got the ink that comes in with it as well. So it's a constant maintenance. And if something goes wrong with it, they just call the vendor up. They come down there and fix it whenever they can, or a scheduled event. And if something were to happen where it's no good anymore, it gets replaced down the road too.
So, because if we buy it, I think we only get 1 year warranty on it. So
Right, labor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So this would be a 5-year lease, but these payments would only cover the first 2 years. The inspections department, because right now, if there's a plan that needs to be copied, people will take the plans out of the building and come back with them. So this would be, we would copy them right there and then charge for the per print, as opposed to them going to Staples or whatever with the plans.
Okay.
So we would start building up a revenue account for the next couple fiscal years.
So the 5,652 and 48 only for 2 years,
For 2 years, correct.
and the next follows. Do you have any idea, or no? We just wait.
It's part of the price proposal.
I didn't hear the whole thing,
I
sorry.
said that amount 5,652 and 48 cents only for 2 years. Did any increase already set for this other 3 years coming up, or no?
No, so you're gonna, the last 3 years, as the town manager already explained, is that they're gonna have to go ahead and build that into their budget themselves. There is no increase
In
per
the
year
cost.
after that.
So will be another 5,000 another 2 years?
Well, it'd be the monthly cost of $235.76. So that's the monthly cost. So I just costed it out for those first 2 years
Okay.
to come out of ARPA. Then they would build up the fund for the remaining years.
There's, in your materials, it is bi-monthly, the town managers, as he explained, he went ahead and just added it all together, times the 12 by a couple of years, and so you'll see that will not change.
We lock for 5 years, we can't step out if we have to for any reason?
No, I mean, we do this with the other copiers, and I anticipate you're always going to have building plans, so.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor? Opposed?
Mr. Chair, I just want to mention that we have only 3 more meetings to go before, basically December 31st of 2024. We have to have the invoices or a contract or something like that has to be done. Right now, we have about $40,500. We have a meeting on Wednesday as well. There are some plans to spend the rest of this money and actually bring some money back. And then you'll have 2 more years after that, December of 2026, in which you have to pay and finish it all up. Our intent, as always, is to zero this thing out by December 31st, 2024, all money being spent. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to agenda item number 14, vote to award Pioppi Construction Incorporated the winter equipment hire 24-25 season for snow plowing, snow removal, and allow the town manager to sign all related documents.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Discussion.
This was unanimously approved, Mr. Chairman, by the DPW Subcommittee.
Any further discussion by committee? Not all those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous, all present. Moving on to 15, vote to award road reconstruction River Street and Crane Street to AF Amarello and Sons Incorporated for $3,157,268 and allow the town manager to sign all related paperwork.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Discussion.
Mr. Chair, this was unanimously approved by the DPW Subcommittee.
Unanimous at subcommittee. Any further discussion? Not all those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present. Moving on to 16, vote to accept the quote for upgrades and optimization and chlorinization system at the water treatment facility for tie-in bond for $17,750 and allow the town manager to sign all related paperwork.
So moved.
Second.
The motion is second. Councilor,
Mr. Chair, this was unanimously approved by the DPW Subcommittee.
any further discussion? Councilor Marquetti.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll be voting no on this. Basically, and I've always been consistent about this, I just don't like dumping ammonium sulfate in our drinking water. That's used to create chloramine, and there's always been a lot of controversy about putting chloramine in the water. It can cause some health issues, and that's documented. I'm not making that up. And this is all just so because chloramine stays in the water longer. It's a disinfectant, I agree. It stays in the water longer because the water has to travel so far to Charlton. So basically, they're doing this for the town of Charlton. And I don't have a problem if they want to put chloramine in their water. I don't have a problem with it. But I just don't think it should be in our water here in Southbridge. We have a lot of old pipes in town. Chloramine can leach lead out of old pipes, and so I'll be opposing it. Thank you.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor? Opposed? One opposed? Passes. Moving on to 17, vote to approve a winter parking ban routes for 2024-25.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second, Councilor.
This was unanimously approved by the DPW Subcommittee.
Any further discussion? Mr. Town Manager?
Just for the public, this would go into effect on December 1st, so once this is passed, we'll make sure it's posted and push the information out, but the parking ban starts December 1st.
Thank you. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present. Moving on to 18, vote to accept change order 1 for the gatehouse roofs replacement project for $36,000 to replace roof, deck, facade, fascia, soffits for the further additional damage discovered during the demolition and allow the town manager to sign all related paperwork.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second.
Mr. Chair, this was unanimously approved by the DPW Subcommittee.
Any further discussion? Not all in favor. Council Down?
Thank you, Chair, through you. Just to clear, the way you read it, but have another attachment is a 3 build and 3 roof we're gonna do with that amount. It's not only one, just to, let people know out there. $36,000, not only for 1 roof, for 3 building. Thank you.
Any further discussion?
No.
If not, all those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present. Moving on to 19, vote to accept the quote from Industrial Pump Sales and Service to remove, rebuild, and install a high lift pump at the wastewater treatment plant for $29,175 to be paid from account 41000000-6418 high left pump rehab and authorize town manager to sign all related paperwork.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Council?
This was unanimously approved by the subcommittee.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous vote present. Moving on to agenda item number 20. Vote to amend prior action of October 7th, 2024, agenda item number 13. Vote in extension of customer services agreement with the UniFirst at a 5% annual increase for items cost and allow town manager to sign all related paperwork. Change 5% to 10%.
So moved.
Second.
Is the motion and a second?
Mr. Chair, this
Discussion.
is unanimously approved by the DPW subcommittee.
Councilor Dow.
Thank you, Chair, through you. Why we're gonna amend to give them more money? I mean, I own 3 companies that charge me 3%, not 5. Now we're gonna give them 10. I don't know why we're gonna amend that to give another 5%, what we don't have. Any explanation?
So the memo that I received from the DPW, it was, they had given me the wrong percentage for the increase for the next contract terms from the increase of 10%. So it should have been 10% right off the bat when they went out to the contract.
Who give you the wrong information?
It was from the DPW when they gave me the first additional language.
But is it like a lease to send it to you?
I did not have a copy of the contract, no.
But, I mean, I understand, but why it's gonna be just because the town of Southbridge is gonna be 10%? Why every other company 5%?
I'm not understanding you, I'm sorry.
I said, why it's gonna be 10% only because of the town of Southbridge? Why other companies only 3 or 5? This is my question.
That was the quote that I was given.
Okay, well, I'm not gonna support that tonight, thank you.
Any other questions? Councilor Marquetti.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is there any way that we can look at some other company to, or are we locked into this?
I would defer to DPW because I'm not sure whether that's the ongoing company that we've had.
Mr. Chair, through you, it's my understanding that the contract is currently in play. We're renewing. It's a very limited contract. It supplies uniforms for our mechanics, and then our employees on the floor are able to opt in to get uniform pants. We supply them with the rest of their uniform, their shirts, their sweatshirts and jackets and so on. So it's a very limited cost to the town, and this is going to put us into a replacement program. Right now we pay for individual replacements and restocking. So with our turnover of staff, if somebody comes in and works for us for I guess 3 months before they can get the uniform service, if they leave after that 3 months, we're paying a restocking fee or a replacement fee for those items. This is going to put us in a contract that they automatically will take those back at no cost and replace them for a new employee. I think that about half of our staff take part in this contract for pants and then the uniforms for our mechanics. As far as getting out of the contract, it is something that we could look at pricing out another uniform vendor. I don't know what that's going to do to affect our current, because I believe we're outside of the contract. It was not renewed on a timely manner, but I'm more than willing to look into it.
Council.
Chair, through you. I believe when you sign a contract with UniFirst, will be set on a certain man you have. You tell them I have 20 guys, and they will change the uniform, put the name on them. That's included in the contract. The only thing will be some charge. If there's any rip, they have to sew or fix the clothes if there's any rip or broken thing in them. Did we try price from different company or too late?
I believe that we were renewing with the company that we had been using. Again, I will say that this is not a traditional contract as you just mentioned. What I'm used to is our contract would cover every single employee. So anybody that works out on the floor in the garage would have access to shirts, uniform. Typically, you would get a certain 11 shirts, 11 pants, and 2 jackets. That's a traditional uniform contract. We don't actually take part in that type of a contract. It is specifically pants and then full uniforms for the mechanic staff because they require flame-resistant uniform.
By saying every guy, but you have to give them a certain amount of guy. They're not going to make it open. unlimited for the guys. So if you have 20 guys, that's what you're getting. Any extra will be extra.
Right, so
But
at
what-
the moment, we don't provide for everybody, it's an opt-in service. That's the way that it has been done. I'm willing to change that, but if we do that way, which I have no problem with, it will be an additional cost.
Did you try to different company?
We could do that as well. I could try to see if another company would be interested in quoting this type of a program.
I don't know if I understand you right. So you say you get different company prices and this was the best, or you never got a quote from different company?
No, so this is a renewal with the same company. What I'm saying is that the contract that we have is a non-traditional uniform contract. So not every member of the staff takes part in it. We do offer it for all of the staff on the floor. It is only for uniform pants, that is it, with the exception of the 3 mechanics. The 3 mechanics, we provide them with a full uniform, so they get the 11 pants, the 11 shirts, and the 2 jackets. The rest of the crew, the way that it is written in their contract, they can opt in to get uniform pants, and then as the town, we provide them with t-shirts, high-vis jackets, sweatshirts, and so on, and that completes their uniform. Plus, we also give them a boot allowance annually.
Okay, thank you.
Did you want to?
No.
Anybody else like at this time, any comments? If not, all in favor? Opposed? One opposed. Moving on to agenda item number 21, vote to rescind prior action taken on September 23rd, 2024. Agenda item 13, vote to enter into an agreement with Guardian Energy Management Solutions LLC for the installation of exterior wall-mounted lighting for illumination of the parking lots areas under the National Grid incentive in the amount estimated at $7,322, and allow the town manager and sign all related paperwork due to National Grid not approving the incentive as required.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second, discussion.
Mr. Chair, this was unanimously approved by the DPW Subcommittee.
Any further discussion? Councilor Marquetti.
So all the things we do for National Grid and they're not approving of this incentive?
They said there wasn't enough savings in the program for them to give us the incentives, unfortunately. One of the few projects that we have not been approved for an incentive.
Okay.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present. Moving on to 22, vote to enter an agreement with Guardian Energy Management Solutions LLC under MHEC contract G03 for the installation of the exterior wall-mounted lighting and illumination of the parking lot areas in the amount estimated at $14,788 to be funded from capital projects account 64833 Community Center Building Improvement, and allow the town manager to sign all related documents.
So moved.
Second.
The motion is second, discussion.
This was unanimously approved by the subcommittee.
Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present. Moving on to 23, vote to enter into a licensing agreement with Central Mass Lighting for the use of Moore Street Field, and allow the town manager to sign all related documents.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second, discussion. Mr. Marquetti?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Reading over the contract, as long as they are going to allow it, not get in the way of anybody else that is using the field, I don't have a problem with this. The first time they came here, I thought they wanted exclusive use, but the way this contract is written, it looks like that everybody can still use the field, so I'll support it. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, this was unanimously approved by the subcommittee.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present. Moving on to Councilors Forum. Councilor Marquetti.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I attended a digital equity meeting tonight at the library, and they asked me to mention this. They do have a online form that they want, feedback that they want the residents to click on. I think it'll be on the town's website. If not, then I would suggest that we get it on there. See if we can get it on Facebook, on Focused. What they want to know is, what do the residents of Southbridge need for their internet? Do they need high speed? I mentioned we need high speed internet at affordable prices. I'd like to see some fiber optic come into this town as well. I mean, Verizon offers a pretty good plan for low-income internet, but they don't come here because there's no fiber optic. So those are some of the things I mentioned, and I hope people can go on the town's website or on Facebook or wherever and fill out this online form of what they'd like to see. I'm not going to try and read the website because it's a little long, but check it out. Hopefully we can get that on the town's website.
It is on the website.
All right, thank you. I also had a lot of people calling about the electric aggregate plan. Seemed to be a little confused, but one person did ask me a question I didn't have an answer for. It may have been that was brought up. It's just been such a long time since we discussed it. This person has solar at their house, and they wanted to know if they should opt out because they're getting a pretty good rate with their solar. And I told them it sounds like they should probably opt out, but I'm not sure the answer on that. Whether
I would suggest they listen on, or bring up the question at the hearing.
All right. And I also had a chance to look at started looking at the school facility study that was performed. I'm kind of like, I looked at the executive summary. I skimmed through some of it. I'm going to continue looking at it. It is quite amazing the problems that we have with our schools. I also went back and looked at the study that was done in 2019, and at that time, I believe they said it was to fix all the buildings, it would cost about $30 million. And on this time, it's up to about $133 million. So unless I'm reading that wrong, it just seems like quite a change in what was done 5 years ago. So I think everybody should at least look at the executive summary. The schools really are in pretty bad shape, and we really have to take a look at doing something about it. And that's all I have. Everybody have a happy Thanksgiving. Thank you.
Councilor Daniels.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, through you. First, I'd like to thank the Veterans Council for the work they did on Veterans Day. We have a very active Veterans Council now, a lot of very concerned people, and I'll tell you, you missed a wonderful ceremony if you weren't there at 10:30 in the morning, and then afterwards, the Veterans Council put on a meal to give small thanks for a great effort, a great cause that our veterans of all the wards have been involved with. So I think Southbridge is being done proud by the Veterans Council, and I really want to see that that's recognized. Secondly, Councilor Rivas, Town Planner Yoda, and myself were at a virtual meeting of the Central Mass Regional Planning Commission. It's a quarterly meeting that's held by the commission. I'm the liaison from the town council to that commission. And the topic of the conversation last Thursday night was housing issues as they affect the state and locally within southern Worcester County and Southbridge. As the state and town strive to create a diversified and competitive regional economy, housing becomes critical. After all, people will want to live near where they work and shop. So, social scientists look to a measure of housing insecurity, which is looking at rent burden, unemployment rate, eviction rate, and foreclosure rate. And Southbridge measures as having one of the highest insecurity rates in the region. I think that there's been a lot of confusion and perhaps a little bit of fear or trepidation given what's been happening recently in town with developers coming in from the outside and buying property and moving forward with their property. They have a right to do that, but nonetheless it causes some trepidation, and perhaps that's something that needs to be looked at. Having a high insecurity rate means that soon Southbridge is going to have to look at issues revolving around affordable housing Chapter 40 housing, community preservation acts, and inclusionary zoning ordinances and initiatives. And I know that we've just barely started to get the ball rolling on that. We're looking at the ADU bylaw right now, but there's going to be more that's going to need to be done in the future. And there's no way that that's going to be avoided. Southbridge has infrastructure to support more housing and will be looked to as an area that can increase its housing stock, partially because we do have the infrastructure that towns in our region don't have. Southbridge is in the middle of a region that is relatively infrastructure poor, except for Southbridge. And that's something that you can't deny. It's the way it is. While Southbridge has a 2% vacancy rate, the communities in our immediate area and the region are at 1%. This is considering also that median home prices have risen by over 90% baseline since pre-pandemic timeframes. So what does this all mean in plain English? It all boils down to the concept that for Southbridge to find success and growth in the future, in other words, business, industry, and services, etc., coming to town, we must consider that people normally want to live near where they work, shop, and go out to eat. People won't move to town if there's no place to live, and businesses won't open in town if there's no one here to support their businesses. It's a chicken-egg conundrum. So it's apparent to me that we need to take a two-pronged approach to making Southbridge what it once was. We have to continue making Southbridge an attractive place to set up shop, while at the same time looking into making Southbridge an attractive place to live, not just in what the housing stock is, but to have a variety of price levels so that all people in all social strata can live and work here. If you build the businesses, the people will come. If you build the homes and the areas for people to live, then the businesses will come. So again, it's that chicken-egg conundrum. We need to do both. We can't just do one. We're doing a great job. I think this council and previous councils have been wonderful about infrastructure changes, not only in terms of the roads, but in terms of community development block grants and increasing the beauty of the facades of buildings in town, and also in terms of supporting our departments, the DPW, the fire department, the police department, departments in town hall, the library, community center. I know I'm missing some, but these councils in the last few years have been very, very supportive of moving forward and making positive results to make the town a better place to be. And that's wonderful, and I commend the councilors, past and present, for doing that. But we still need to look at the housing. This is a long-term commitment for which all sides of the question will have to come to the table at the same time to find common solutions. There will be acrimony at times, but for the good of the town, we will have to come together. The alternative is to continue searching and hoping for a magic answer. Working together, we can make it happen for ourselves and not rely on a magic answer. Thank you, Mr. Chair. That's all I have.
Thank you, Council. Council Dow.
Thank you, Chair. Through you, I want to say thank you for the firefighters, police, DPW, town manager, all the staff work hard those couple of weeks. Fires, incidents, shootings. I want to say all of them. I don't want to forget any names. I want to, maybe a little late, but I want to say congratulations to our Congress Neal, our Senator Fatman, our State Rep Marcy, and a big congratulations to our United States of America President Strungs. And thank you.
Council Junior.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just, again, want to follow up with you and town managers on how grateful I am for the services that were provided during these emergencies last week and over the weekend. I stand proud with the individuals that were on duty, that were called in, and the job that they did. It was just amazing, the amount of fire that was taking place that night, that nobody did get killed and nobody got injured. It was the fine work of the men and women of our emergency services, and that's to include the dispatchers. We tend to criticize more than give accolades, but I think the accolades are much needed for the fine work that they've done this past week. And that's to include the town manager and the chair. All during this whole time, the town manager was down at the senior center, making sure the needs of the community were being met, and also making sure that the needs of the community were going to continue. He was in constant contact with the senior center, speaking with Katie and myself. Anything that he could do, he was right there for us. The chair of the council, he was in constant contact. People have to work, and he was in constant contact with myself. And if anything was needed, was just a phone call away. Again, I want to thank everybody. On Councilor Daniels' comments regarding housing, I've been torn a little bit on this whole issue. I live in a development that was recently sold for $12.7 million, and the elderly that live there are in fear of what are they going to do as rent increases. I've been in contact with the governor's office, Senator Fatman's office, and Representative Bassi. And Representative Bassi and Senator Fatman's office is willing to try to do as much as they can for us. But the problem that I find is the lack of services for the people that live here now. They want more people to come in, more people to live here, but they don't provide, they provide lip service to the people. The people are very frustrated with the lack of response from the governor's office and the help that is given by the housing authority. They apply for Section 8 housing, subsidized housing, vouchers. There's multiple kind of vouchers, and all these programs are 8 to 12 years away. So people have been waiting for a long, long time with no results, and the situation is going to get worse. My thing is help the people that live here now, not the people that are coming in, not the people that these new developments are going to attract. We need to help the people that are here now, and I think that's the most important thing. Again, I want to thank all the councilors for a happy holiday, Thanksgiving. I hope you enjoy your time with your family and friends, and best of luck to all of you for this holiday season. Thank you.
Councilor Ortiz?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Councilor Montigny?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have to echo everybody's sentiments on the police and fire this weekend, and I won't add to it because everybody's pretty much hit the nail on the head with that. I did want to say that I was able to attend a couple events since the last meeting. The first was the Harlem Wizards, kind of like the Globetrotters. They had it up at the middle high school. It was very entertaining. I'm glad that they had that for the children. And the other was the Italian Club had a nice porchetta where I was able to see a lot of good people from town and bring me back to my Italian heritage. But other than that, just wanted to remind people again, when it comes to education and human services, the state has been working with us in terms of just staying on the same page, and there's another meeting in the beginning of December that the state will come out to Southbridge to give us an update from them. So other than that, everything is smooth as can be with EHS departments, and that's all I have tonight.
Moving on to 25, discussion next meeting date. Mr. Vice Chairman?
Discussion of the next meeting date is Monday, December 2nd, 2024 at 7 p.m. in the council chambers.
Agenda item number 26, do I hear a motion to adjourn? So moved. Do I hear a second? Second. All those in favor? Opposed? This meeting is adjourned.